everybody, this is your girl Mona Lisa, aka xSimsLyfe here, and welcome to a whole new Let's Play and a whole new episode of The Sims 4 StrangerVille. So welcome back, you guys, welcome back. This must be Christmas because I am uploading these videos back to back. I am not playing, and I finally got a video game on freaking time. Thank you, EA, for making this Stranger pack only $20 for us broke people out here trying to make a living. But anyway, you guys, let's hop right in. You download StrangerVille and you do all your uploading and all that stuff and everything's rendering. You are brought to this screen and it says, "Welcome to The Sims 4 StrangerVille." Welcome to StrangerVille, a seemingly normal world shrouded in secrecy. Watch the world change before you as you dig deeper and deeper into the mystery. Unravel its secrets to the world. Fall in love with its charm. Roger that. Join the all-new military career where your sim can become a grand marshal, or maybe take the path of a covert operator to keep tabs on suspicious, or maybe not that suspicious, wink, sims in the world. Leave no stone unturned. With the new StrangerVille mystery aspiration, your Sims will be in headfirst into the investigation. Can your Sims uncover what is truly behind what is plaguing the town? Secret Lab. Locals say ever since the secret lab got built, the town has been acting weird. But the only way to find out is to investigate. Traverse the lowest levels of the secret lab and see what hides beneath the curtains. So you guys, I already have perfect characters for this StrangerVille Let's Play, and I cannot wait to introduce you to them. So without further ado, let's hop into cast to meet our newest family that we are going to be playing with. So we are in Create a Sim with our newest cast members, and we are starting off with Professor Castillo, and he wants to be fabulously wealthy. He's creative, a genius, and slightly evil, you guys. He's not completely evil, but Professor Castillo dedicated his life in the science career and dedicated his life's work to chemistry and experiments and creating cures to deadly viruses. And so one day, like normal, his bosses come to him and tells him to round up his team because they need him to find a cure for another deadly virus. So Professor Castillo, who employed his daughter, her husband, and a couple other people, got to work with trying to find a cure to this virus. This virus is deadly and it kills on sight. But working on this virus for years, they were able to slow down the side effects. So one night when Professor Castillo went home and his daughter and her husband decided to stay and keep on working because they were very dedicated to finding this cure. They were very invested in this work, and they ended up being in the midst of a robbery at the lab. The people that were trying to come in were trying to steal the lab research. They were trying to steal the virus, and one of the vials broke in the scuffle, and they were able to secure the lab and were able to protect from the rest of the building from being exposed to this virus. Yet it was unfortunate that their lives were taken in the process. So when Professor Castillo was called in that night saying that his daughter and her husband died in an attack because the company was saying to the public, to the news media, that another country was trying to break into their laboratory, steal vials of dangerous toxins to use and unleash in their town, and in the process they ended up killing not only themselves but two scientists in the building. So everybody took it at face value, and Professor Castillo, now tasked with raising up his daughter's only daughter, Agent Tanner, which we will get to her in a minute. Now that he was tasked with raising their daughter, he dedicated his life also even more into finding this cure. But years later, they start telling him they've gotten approved to now weaponize this virus because of the attack. So not thinking again anything of it, just following orders, Professor Castillo starts trying to weaponize this virus effectively. And Agent Tanner really didn't have much of a childhood growing up, because growing up in a household full of scientists, family members who dedicate their lives to their work, their experiments, really forced Agent Tanner to grow up quickly and have one of those no nonsense, tough kind of cookie personality. Agent Tanner is a nerd brain. She is creative, she is an insider, and she is active. She loves working out, she loves fighting. She's took a lot of fighting classes when she grew up, and she's always wanted to join the military. And when she finally joined the military, she worked her way up into a special division within the military that ultimately caused her to get her records all wiped clean. So that is the reason why we call her Agent Tanner, because she is wiped from all records. So if she wanted to go rogue, she could, and nobody would be able to find her. Something about the night that her parents died didn't always sit right with Agent Tanner, so she invested her life, like her grandfather, to find out the truth, find out what really happened that night, because there's a lot of plot holes within the story that the lab came out with, and everything that her grandpa has told her about that night, and everything she knew about her parents. There's a lot of things that just didn't make sense within the story in general, and her getting the training she has in the military really has opened her mind to ask these type of questions. So as years go on by and she's doing her missions, she notices her grandfather's getting up there in years, and he is very fatigued and very tired. So she tells her grandfather to hire an assistant, and this is where Melvin comes in. Melvin is a nerd brain, he's creative, and he's a genius. He puts Einstein to shame. And Melvin is very smart. He likes to, let's just say, on his own spare time, likes to hack into things and cause a little trouble within the government. Melvin also likes to watch conspiracy theorists on YouTube, especially one known as Erwin. And Melvin, in love with Erwin's videos and his conspiracy, started digging in on his own accord on the night that the attack happened, and why the company has all of a sudden changed from finding a cure to this virus to weaponizing it effectively, and wondering why all of a sudden they put another team on task to find a way to weaponize it. So Melvin was digging into all this information and finally found paperwork that suggested that it might have been an inside job. But he doesn't know for sure unless he gets more proof. He brings the information to Professor Castillo, who is now livid at this point. He kind of assumed something was going on. So Melvin is told by Professor Castillo to keep it quiet, that they should do more digging into this. And Professor Castillo told his granddaughter everything that Melvin found, and she was like, yes, this was the proof that I was waiting for. I knew it. I know they wanted to be able to weaponize it, but what was their true purpose in the end? What's their true goal? So as we check out all the new clothing items, all the new items that they have for us in this pack, except for the hairs, I didn't check out anything for the kids or toddlers, but you guys can do that when you download this pack. I just wanted to give you guys a quick background story up until this point. And so now, after Agent Tanner got approved to go back to StrangerVille, to the military personnel that's surrounding the laboratory, she is now a captain within her group, and she is protecting her grandfather and Melvin as they dig more into the story. And in the process of talking with her grandfather and Melvin, they decide to create a robot canine dog that they call Canine, who can record audio, video. They use this dog to their advantage as well. And so Agent Tanner finds out that the inside job has to do with the military that's surrounding the laboratory and the higher-ups within the lab. But they don't know who's pulling the real strings behind the people at the laboratory. So Agent Tanner gets Melvin to hack into the computers, try to find more information, but he's not able to. It can be traced back to him, and he feels like it's too risky. So they plan to expose the lab by unleashing this virus. So her grandfather, even though he was weaponizing the virus, he was still working on a cure, and he got it to the point where all that really happens is people start acting strange and gets distorted. They don't really die right away anymore. So that takes a long time for that to happen. So they devise a plan to unleash the virus so that it could get the town to start talking. And they make it look like it's an accident in the lab, and the lab explodes. It doesn't explode the whole building, but just the lab itself. He pretended to pass out next to the laboratory table that held all the viruses. That's how it got unleashed. And but he doesn't understand why the lab exploded when it was released into the air. But that explosion helped solidify his pretense as the virus is being released. He pretends to awaken from his sleep-deprived coma and noticing the fire by frantically panicking, trying to stop the fire now that started in the lab. 5 minutes after the 10-minute mark, he presses the button, which triggers Agent Tanner to get her team to the laboratory to start quarantining the place down. And then she tells everybody to shut the entry points of the town down so nobody comes in and out, because they want to contain this as much as possible. So this is where their story really starts. I just wanted to do a little backstory so that you guys understand how they fit into Strangerville and why they are the reasons this is going on now, because they want everybody to know what's going on behind these closed doors. And unbeknownst to the scientists, Melvin told Erwin as an anonymous tip what was going to happen tonight. So Erwin was there in time to catch the explosion. He was able to release a video out to the world telling that there's something going on in Strangerville that people need to start investigating. The town is acting crazy. He shows people video clips of what's really going on. And he's showing everybody how the military is not letting anybody come in and out of Strangerville, how they're trying to close down the communication lines. And that brings everybody into an uproar. Melvin knew, because of this video, that it would be hard for the lab to cut down communications. It would be hard for the military to really stop people from going into an uproar. And so all heck breaks loose, and they try to create a cover story of why this happened. They just say that it was just, an accident at the lab. They didn't expect that this would happen, which is true into some sense, because it was technically Melvin and Agent Tanner and Professor Castillo who planned all this. Now the lab has no choice but to create a cure for this virus. While they're working for a cure, Professor Castillo finds out that they still, behind their backs, are weaponizing it. So while Agent Tanner brings Melvin out into town, she trains him up, and she helps him also find samples, talking to people, figuring out what's really going on, who's really pulling the strings behind all this stuff. And so it's exciting to see, their story progress in Strangerville as we do this mini-series. So sit back, relax. This is xSimsLyfe here saying happy simming, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.